Welcome back. Question number 21. What does Amazon CloudFront use to distribute content to global users with low latency? A. AWS Global Accelerator. B. AWS Regions. C. AWS Edge Location. D. AWS Availability Zone. The answer is C. AWS Edge Location. It is CloudFront cage site that is placed close to end users to reduce latency. Global Accelerator is a service that routes users over AWS backbone for better performance. AWS region is a geographical area made up of multiple isolated availability zones, while availability zone is one or more discrete data centers with independent power networking within a region. What does the principle of least privilege refer to? A. You should grant your users all the permissions they need when they need them and nothing more. B. All IAM users should have at least the necessary permission to access the core AWS services. C. All trusted IAM users should have access to any AWS services in their respective AWS account. D. IAM users should not be granted any permissions to keep the account safe. The answer is A. You should grant your users only the permission they need when they need them and nothing more. This is the correct choice for this question. Question number 23. Which of the following does not belong to the AWS cloud computing models? A. Platform as service. B. Infrastructure as service. C. Software as service. D. Networking as service. Answer is D. Networking as service. Networking as service is correct in this regard because it does not belong to the AWS cloud computing model at all. Question number 24. The identification process of an online financial service company requires that new users must complete an online interview with their security team. The completed recorded interviews are only required in the event of a legal issue or a regulatory compliance breach. What is the most cost-effective service to store the recorded videos? A. S3 Intelligent Tiering. B. AWS Marketplace. C. Amazon S3 Galaxy Deep Archive. D. Amazon EBS. The answer is S3 Galaxy Deep Archive. It is a scalable object storage with very high durability, and of course it offers low cost compared to other storage options. For S3 Intelligent Tiering, it's also a scalable object storage with high durability that allows you to move data from one storage tier to another storage tier, depending on how long you want to preserve that data. But since we are considering recorded interviews are only required in the event of a legal issue or a regulatory compliance, something that may not really happen frequently, so it's better to store the data in Galaxy Deep Archive such that it can only be retrieved when needed, and that is both safe and cost efficient. Question number 25. Which service provides DNS in the AWS cloud? A. Route 53. B. AWS Config. C. Amazon CloudFront. D. Amazon EMR. The correct answer here is Route 53. 53 is AWS Capable DNS and Domain Registration Service. Other options are not correct in this case because AWS Config is a service that records resource configuration and checks for compliance. CloudFront is a content delivery network. EMR is a managed big data platform running Hadoop and Spark. Question number 26. hundreds of thousands of DDoS attacks. DDoS stands for Distributed Denial of Service attacks. Hundreds of thousands of DDoS attacks are recorded every month worldwide. What service does AWS provide to help protect AWS customers from these attacks? A. AWS Shield. B. AWS Config. C. AWS Cognito. D. AWS Web Application Firewall. AWS Key Management System. The correct answers are AWS Shield, AWS Web Application Firewall. The AWS Shield is a managed DDoS protection. The standard package is free, while the advanced package is paid. AWS Web Application Firewall protects web application from exploits such as SQL injection, cross-site scripting. Question number 27. A company is deploying a new tier web application in AWS. Where should the most frequently accessed data be stored so that the application's response time is optimal? A. AWS OpsWork. B. AWS Storage Gateway. C. AWS EBS Volume. D. AWS Elastic Cache. The answer is AWS or Amazon Elastic Cache. Amazon Elastic Cache is a managed in-memory caching used to speed up apps. Question number 20. You want to run a questionnaire application for only 1 day without interruption with Amazon EC2. Which Amazon EC2 purchase option should you use? A. Reserved instances. B. Spot instances. C. Dedicated instances. D. On-demand instances. The answer is on-demand instances. This is because it is pay-per-use compute with no commitment, billed by second per hour. Question number 29. You are working on a project that involves creating thumbnails of millions of images. Consistent uptime is not an issue, and continuous processing is not required. Which EC2 buyer option would be the most cost-effective? Options: A. Reserved instance. Option B. On-demand instance. Option C. Dedicated instances. Option D. Spot instance. The right answer here is spot instances. Spot instance, they are spare EC2 capacities sold at a steep discount, but AWS can reclaim them at short notice. Why do we choose spot instances? Because the question said consistent uptime is not an issue. Question number 30. Which of the following can be described as a global content delivery network service? Option A, AWS VPN. Option B, AWS Direct Connect. Option C, AWS Regions. Option D, Amazon CloudFront. The correct answer is option D, Amazon CloudFront. It is a content delivery network that caches content at locations near users. You can pause the video and read up the explanation of other services mentioned in the option to see why they are not correct. Question number 31. Which of the following services allows customers to manage their agreements with AWS? A. AWS Artifacts. B. AWS Certificate Manager. C. AWS Systems Manager. D. AWS Organizations. The correct answer is AWS Artifact. AWS Artifact is the portal for downloading AWS compliance reports and agreements. Question number 32. Which of the following are examples of AWS managed services? AWS is responsible for the operational and maintenance bodies of the running service. Choose A. Amazon VPC. B. Amazon DynamoDB. C. Amazon Elastic MapReduce. D. AWS IAM. E. Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud. The answers are Amazon DynamoDB, which is a fully managed serverless NoSQL key value database, and Amazon Elastic MapReduce. These two options are correct in this week. Question number 32. Your company has a data store application that requires access to a NoSQL database. Which AWS database offering would meet this requirement? Amazon Aurora, B. Amazon DynamoDB, C. Amazon Elastic Block Store, D. Amazon Redshift. The answer is Amazon DynamoDB. It is a fully managed serverless NoSQL key value database. Question number 34. As part of the enterprise support plan, who is the primary point of contact for ongoing support needs? A. AWS Identity and Access Management User. B. Infrastructure Events Management Engineer. C. AWS Consulting Partners. D. Technical Account Manager. The answer is Technical Account Manager. It is a dedicated AWS advisor usually with the enterprise support plan. Question number 35. How can you view the distribution of AWS spending in one of AWS accounts? A. By using Amazon VPC console. B. By contacting the AWS support team. C. By using AWS Cost Explorer. D. By contacting the AWS Finance team. The correct answer is by using the AWS Cost Explorer. It's just a tool used to visualize and understand and also forecast AWS spending over time. Question number 36. Which of the following must an identity and access management user provide to interact with AWS services? The AWS command line interface. A. Access keys. B. Secret token. C. User ID. And D. Username and password. The answer is access keys. A long-term credential used to call AWS programmatically. Question number 37. You have AWS basic support, and you have discovered that some AWS resources are being used maliciously, and those resources could potentially compromise your data. What should you do? A. Contact the AWS customer support service. B. Contact the AWS abuse team. C. Contact the AWS concierge team. D. Contact the AWS security team. The correct answer is contact the AWS abuse team. Question number 38. Select two examples of the AWS shared controls. A. Patch management. B. IAM management. C. VPC management. D. Configuration management. E. Data center operations. The correct answers are patch management and configuration management. Question number 39. In order to implement the best practices when dealing with a single point of failure, you should attempt to build as much automation as possible in both detecting and reacting to failure. Which of the following AWS services would help? Choose two. ELB, which stands for Elastic Load Balancer. B. Autoscaling. C. Amazon Athena. D. ECM. E. EC2. The correct answers ELB and autoscaling. ELB is a service that distributes incoming traffic across multiple nodes for availability, while autoscaling is a service that automatically adds or removes capacity. It responds according to the demand. Question number 40. A company is planning to host an educational website on AWS. Video courses will be streamed all around the world. Which of the following AWS services will achieve high transfer control speed? A. Amazon SNS, simple notification service. B. Amazon Kinesis video streams. C. AWS Cloud Formation. D. Amazon Cloud Front. Answer is Amazon Cloud Front. It's a content delivery network that caches content at edge locations near users. A developer is planning to build a two-tier web application that has a MySQL database layer. Which of the following AWS database services would provide automated backups for the application? Option A, a MySQL database installed on an EC2 instance. B, Amazon Aurora. C, Amazon DynamoDB. D, Amazon NIP. The correct answer is Amazon Aurora. It's a high-performance MySQL and PostgreSQL compatible managed database. Question number 41. Question number 42. What is the AWS service that enables AWS architects to manage infrastructure as code? A. AWS Cloud Formation. B. AWS Config. C. Amazon SES. D. Amazon EMR. The correct answer is AWS Cloud Formation. This is AWS infrastructure as code, builds AWS resources from a template. You can pause the video to see what other options stand for, why they are not correct in this instance. Question number 43. Under the shared responsibility model, which of the following is the responsibility of AWS? A. Client-side encryption. B. Configuring infrastructure devices. C. Server-side encryption. D. Filtering traffic with security groups. The correct answer is B. Configuring infrastructure devices. Configuring infrastructure devices is correct in this scenario because it is AWS responsibility to take care of this, of the provisioning of the physical data center services and taking care of the security of the personnel and the hardware in their various data centers. And they have to be the ones to configure those devices as well. Question number 44. What does the AWS Health Dashboard provide? Choose A. Detailed troubleshooting guidance to address AWS events impacting resources. B. Health checks for auto-scaling instances. C. Recommendation for cost optimizations. D. A dashboard detailing vulnerabilities in application. E. Personalized view of AWS service health. The correct answers are detailed troubleshooting guidance to address AWS events impacting your resources, and E. Personalized view of AWS service health. Question number 45. You have deployed your application on multiple Amazon EC2 instances. Customers complain that some they can't reach your application. Which AWS service allows you to monitor the performance of EC2 instances in order to assist in troubleshooting these issues? Option number A. Option A, AWS Lambda. B, AWS Config. C, Amazon Cloud Watch. D, Amazon AWS Cloud Trail. The correct answer is Amazon Cloud Watch. It is a service that collects metrics, logs, and can also be used to set alarms for AWS resources. Question number 46. Your company is developing a critical web application in AWS, and the security of the application is a top priority. Which of the following AWS services will provide infrastructure security optimization recommendations? A, AWS Shield. B, AWS Management Console. C, AWS Secret Manager. D, AWS Trusted Advisor. The correct answer is AWS Trusted Advisor. It is a tool that gives recommendation on cost, performance, security, and leads. Question number 47. Which of the following is not a benefit of Amazon S3? Choose two. A. Amazon S3 provides unlimited storage for any type of data. B. Amazon S3 can run any type of application or backend system. C. Amazon S3 stores any number of objects, but with object size limit. D. Amazon S3 can be scaled manually to store and retrieve any amount of data from anywhere. E. Amazon S3 provides 11 nines of data durability. The answers are B and D. Amazon S3 can run any type of application or backend system is correct in this case. And also, Amazon S3 can be scaled manually to store and retrieve any amount of data from anywhere. The scaling of S3 is not done manually, it's automated. Likewise, Amazon S3 cannot run all types of application or backend system. Question number 48. In the AWS shared responsibility model, which of the following are the responsibility of the customer? Choose A. Disposal. B. Controlling physical access to compute resources. C. Patching the network infrastructure. D. Setting password complexity rules. E. Configuring network access rules. The answers are D and E. Setting password complexity rules, definitely the responsibility of the customer. Configuring network access rule is the responsibility of the customer. Disposing the disk, which is handling the hardware, this AWS responsibility. Controlling physical access to the compute resources, all are AWS responsibility. Question number 49. What does AWS provide to deploy popular technologies such as IBM MQ on AWS with the least amount of effort and time? Amazon Aurora. B. Amazon CloudWatch. C. AWS Quick Start Reference Deployment. D. AWS Ops Work. The correct answer is C. AWS Quick Start Reference Deployment. AWS Quick Start Reference Deployment is a pre-built reference deployment that sets up environments automatically. Question number 50. An organization has decided to purchase an Amazon EC2 Reserve Instance RI for 3 years in order to reduce cost. It is possible that the application workloads could change during the reservation period. What is the EC2 Reserve Instance type that will allow the company to exchange the purchased instance for another reserve instance with higher computing power if they need to? A. Elastic Reserved Instance. B. Premium Reserved Instance. C. Standard Reserved Instance. D. Convertible Reserved Instance. The answer is Convertible Reserved Instance can allow the company to exchange the purchased instances for another reserve instance with higher computing power as much as the need allows them. So thank you for staying to the end of this video. I will see you in the next video where we will continue from question number 51 and on and on. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.